4 years younger. Real challenge for the Commonwealth title.
Is the big one. We are in the northeast of England, the Metro Radio Arena, Newcastle upon Tyne. We're live on Sky Sports. We're sponsored by William Hill, StubHub and JD Sports, and Eddie Hearn for Matchroom Boxing is very proud to bring you 12 rounds for the welterweight championship of the Commonwealth and the WBA International Welterweight Crown. Sanctioned by the British Boxing Board of Control, steward in charge, Mr. Reg Long, and the WBA and the Commonwealth Boxing Council, Supervisor Robert W. Smith. At ringside, our 3 scoring judges. From Doncaster, Mr. Howard Foster. From Fleetwood, Mr. Steve Gray. From Birmingham, Mr. Terry O'Connor. At the bell, our timekeeper, Mr. James Holborn. And when the bell rings, in charge of the action, from Twickenham, championship referee, Mr. Marcus McDonnell. And so, ladies and gentlemen, for the thousands in attendance here at ringside, and for those watching live on Sky Sports, the officials are ready. The boxers are ready. Are you ready for the main event? Introducing in the blue corner. He wears the white shorts trimmed with red and blue. He weighed in at 10 stone, 6 pounds, 8 ounces. A perfect record, 6 contests, 6 wins, 4 inside the distance. Tonight, he makes the first defense as the WBA International Welterweight Champion. He is the fighting pride of the northeast of England, PBK Josh Pretty Boy Kelly. And in the red corner, wearing blue with white trim, on the scales, 10 stone, 6 pounds, 2 ounces. From 15 contests, 14 wins, 8 inside the distance, only 1 defeat. Tonight he makes the second defense as the welterweight champion of the Commonwealth, from Toowoomba, Queensland, Australia, Crys George.
Josh. Chris. Josh. Right, I spoke to you both in the dressing room, know what I expect. Act like professors at all times, obey my instructions, watch your heads, keep it clean. Any questions? Let's go to work.
The Commonwealth and the WBA International 10 stone 7 belts on the line. It's Australia against England. Crys George, 4 years senior to Josh Kelly, whose tutor and trainer Adam Booth believes this is the time, the perfect step up in fight number 7, unbeaten in 6. George with 1 defeat on the record against Stan Dew, and that was 3 years ago, over 10 rounds, but he's had some good wins in Australia over the unbeaten Cameron Hammond, over Jack Brubaker. But is this another level? The brilliant amateur star, Josh Kelly, who's made, Tony, a terrific transition.
He has, Adam, and one thing I'll say about Josh Kelly, a very, very hard fighter to prepare for. The movement, the explosiveness, the slickness. He has a confidence and an aura about him that says he can go all the way. For me now, it's just about putting it together. You know, I think Crys George is going to be surprised tonight at the angles that Kelly will give him. You know, the one-punch power that he does possess. I've seen Adam Booth make a few comparisons, and I've also seen him say it's the most naturally talented fighter he's ever trained. Let's just remember who Adam Booth has trained. David Hay made him from scratch. He's trained Andy Lee. He's trained Ryan Burnett. He's trained many brilliant, brilliant fighters over the years, and he says this boy is the best of the lot.
George Groves as well, of course, and he's got a bubbling stable. Adam Booth. And there's a great professional outlook for Adam Booth, who has taken on another great talent who was from the factory in Sheffield, that wonderful Team GB set up.
I'll be honest, what impresses me the most about Kelly is, and you don't usually get it with fighters, they're usually really good at one of the things. It's either close range, short range, or mid-range. This kid can fight at any range, mid-range, up close, great counter-puncher also.
Nice right hand, he's very quick, that versatility, just walks into one there.
He's feeling these, Adam, he is feeling them already.
Turn southpaw, Chris George, body shot from Kelly. A right hand from George. Right hand. He's come to give this a real go. Remember, he's the champion.
I believe a little bit more now that he actually does believe he can win this, because he's throwing shots full-blooded and he's giving it what he's got. Don't get me wrong, I don't think he has got enough, but at least he believes it and he's throwing the punches like he really thinks he can.
He believes it's way too soon for Kelly. Kelly, who had that great win over Carlos Molina, former world champion. Real excellent ring experience, and look at that left hand, and George is hurt by that in the first round. Just does a little dance.
He actually landed a good body shot himself there, Chris George, as he leant in, but the counter left hook caught him on the side of the head. He didn't see it coming, so, you know, it buzzed him a little bit.
Yeah, befuddled him. Led by Craig Monagle with Michael George as well in there. What did we learn in the opening round, Tony, as George comes out again in the blue and white trunks to defend his Commonwealth crown?
I think he's felt it there, Adam, in that first round. I think Kelly, it seems to have the range now. You know, the jabs are landing pretty cleanly. But George has been given a little bit of hope. He's seen that he can actually hit Kelly, so that will give him hope.
Nice right hand from Kelly, who punches from unorthodox angles, and his foot movement is so strong. Idolized Sugar Ray Leonard and Roy Jones Jr. They were his favorites. Nice body shot. It's just how he goes about the job at the different levels and stages he'll be faced. Did lose in the Olympics to Daniil Yelusinov, who we've seen turn pro with Matchroom recently. But everything else in the amateur game, he looked pretty special.
The movement's so fluid, you know, he does have all the tools, Adam, he really does. And the only person who's going to beat Josh Kelly is Josh Kelly. You know, he's really good. He's such a talent. He's flawless at times. I'll be honest, worrying leaky defense at times, as we've just seen him countered there. And that's the only thing that can give Chris George confidence here, the fact that he can hit Josh Kelly.
George has 8 knockout wins, albeit out in Australia, and some of the names are relatively unheard of on the record.
It's 8 knockout wins, Adam, but let's remember, Josh Kelly's only had 6 actual fights. So, you know, we have to put this into comparison and look, in retrospect, where is Josh Kelly going? He's fighting guys who are more experienced than him, who have belts, and guys who think they can actually win. So it's full credit to, you know, Josh Kelly and his team and Adam Booth.
The boxing brain ticking over. Looking for that hook to the body again. George a bit static as he tries to get hold of centre ring, but can he back Kelly up?
Looking at Josh, I don't think Adam Booth in the corner will be happy at such free exchanges up close. He's allowing himself to get tagged back, and with them small gloves on, anything can happen.
Well, it's usually the Adam Booth way to take control and utilize tactics to carve smooth paths through fights, but he will also have the pressure of the crowd. He's obviously heard what happened with Lewis Ritson half an hour ago or so, and it's quite quiet in here now. Obviously they're totally different styles, but he'll want to impress and hopefully make a statement.
Seeing Adam.
Chris George, he keeps opening his mouth. I've noticed he's got a sort of nervous twitch that he sometimes shows. Stammer when he talks as well. He's been very good though in front of a mic when Andy Clark interviewed him in front of the crowd on Wednesday night at the big open workout in Gateshead. And he's really confident, Chris George, as he comes out for the third round. Runs a fishing tackle shot back home in Australia. He's got a successful business, but he is here to cause the upset. And it would be an upset even though, as you said, Kelly's only had 6 fights.
Of course it would, you know, if you're good enough, if you're young enough, you're good enough. It doesn't matter how many fights you've had. We've seen the fantastic Vasyl Lomachenko try. He dared too early in his career. The second fight he lost to Salido because he jumped in too soon. But ultimately, you know, he got there in, I think it was 2 fights after. So if you're good enough, you know, it's never too soon. Kelly has the lot, like I say. This boy tonight, though, is going to ask questions of him. He looks a lot more durable than anyone I've seen him face before.
Well, that loss over 10 rounds. Never been stopped or in any real trouble, Chris George. Kelly has 4 knockouts in those 6 victories. Couldn't shift Molina, but that wasn't the aim. The aim was rounds.
He didn't put them together against Molina like he's doing tonight, Adam. He really didn't. It looked to me like he was going, right, I'm going in here to get rounds. You know, I'm gonna see how much experience this guy can pass on to me. Here, he's looking for the KO. He's looking to do damage, and you know, he's looking to put it on Chris George. That just didn't happen in the first Molina fight. Good right hand around the side of the ear of Chris George there.
George with the right hand himself, Kelly getting his gloves up. It's not overawed here, the Australian. But it's how do you prepare for Kelly? The sparring that George has had, you can't really replicate it.
Basically impossible, Adam. You have to get in a number of different sparring partners. I would even go as far as saying some amateur boxers, because they will replicate the unorthodox things that Josh Kelly does.
Looking to put hurtful punches in tonight, Kelly. Not always landing them. But you can see the intent.
George is doing well, you know, he's showing Kelly the respect he deserves, but he's having a little poke here and there, and he's trying to find the holes in Kelly's game that he does give you.
And he's switching as well, stances orthodox to southpaw. And good defense as well from George. He's looking after himself effectively in there. That was Kelly's best round yet. He feels he's getting into the rhythm. You agree?
I do, Adam. He's in complete control. I'd just like to see him, you know, not take as many. To be fair, he took about 3 or 4 clean punches in this fight, but it only takes one, Adam. And, you know, especially when you're up close, pulling your chin back in the air, you have to be very careful. I think Josh Kelly, at this kind of level, he dominates everybody. It's only when you go to the higher levels where guys can turn it over with one big shot. And, you know, I'm sure he's aware of that going forward, but, you know, you need to address them kind of situations at this stage.
24 years of age, the man from Sunderland. George, 28. Over double the amount of fights.
Lovely right uppercut pick there from Josh Kelly. It's just a slip on the inside of that left hand of Chris George, and a powerful right uppercut delivered.
Yeah, those the classy shots, but George putting a combination back, and Kelly just playing with him. But George means business here, and it's good to see.
It is. He really does believe he can do this. Kelly is, he's doing as he pleases here, Adam. It's all at his pace. He's just being countered the odd time. His hand and eye coordination, Kelly's, is brilliant. It really is. He can stand so close to an opponent, and yet just a small little switch or a movement, he gets out of range. Fantastic athlete.
He was telling us in the week about his amateur fight with Lewis Ritson. Ritson beat him on points, and Kelly said he learned a great deal from that. They're good mates now, of course.
I'll be honest, wow, I'm just amazed anyone went to punch with Ritson. I'll be totally honest.
He said he was a beast in there. Slightly older, a bit more mature. Kelly didn't lose too many as an amateur, and that's nice. Beautiful move.
Just speed and timing's perfect there from Josh Kelly.
Oh, left hand from George just as Kelly came in. And again, another big hook, and Kelly goes, whoa.
It's because he's pulling out at him with the chin in the air. You cannot do that. You know, it's a dangerous maneuver to make. George isn't the biggest puncher, obviously, but you get guys who only need one. Guys from the same stable as Josh Kelly, like Andy Lee, can be behind and losing. Bang, one big right hook. He closed the show.
Look, hands down, last 20 seconds. Just goading George to try it again.
His feet are brilliant. Josh Kelly, you know, he takes the risk. You see him here, up, down, up, down. He moves so fluidly, but you have to be careful in there at times.
Skipping around, gets caught, but comes back with better Kelly and says, come on then, right at the bell.
Talented at the moment.
Talented at the moment.
Boxing is thriving at the moment. It's the strongest I have ever seen British boxing, and I've been watching it since as long as I can remember.
Success breeding success, all starting in London 2012 with those victories for AJ, Luke Campbell, Nicola Adams, Katie Taylor, and gyms inspired everywhere. And now the Northeast with Lewis Ritson and Josh Kelly thriving in the gyms. The youngsters wannabe fighters.
I go as far back as Sydney with Audley Harrison, Adam. It's built on Olympic cycle after Olympic cycle, and it's gone from strength to strength. It really has, from Audley Harrison to Amir Khan, so on and so forth.
Where was your Olympic gold?
I could only dream of one, sorry. The closest I got to that was touching Katie Taylor's one.
Right hand from Kelly.
Good body shot to finish.
Ripping in fast combinations, but George still smiles. And he gets his hands up to a lot of these.
I'll be honest, I'm a bit worried about Kelly's hands as this fight progresses, because he's landing heavy shots to the forehead, and the forehead is the thickest part of the skull. You know, he will be feeling these shots in his hands.
Another left hand from George. He's hitting Kelly more than anyone has so far. There's a right back from Kelly, but he continues just to utilise the ring himself, George, and not be too bothered.
Extremely durable boy, Adam, by the looks of things so far, and he hasn't been buzzed yet. He's been hit clean a number of times, and he hasn't been buzzed. I think it's going to be one that he doesn't see coming that really hurts him, because so far he's seeing everything coming from Kelly, and that's something no opponent's been able to do before. They were heavy shots, Adam.
Yep, hand speed again from Kelly. Clever thinking fighter. So different from Ritson, isn't he? I mean, they are chalk and cheese.
He is, but, you know, you've got to look at it this way. They're all going to want to see Ritson, but they're all going to admire Kelly. You know, two completely different fighters.
Yep, it's a beautiful combination if they can keep winning. Looking for the uppercut again, but he saw that coming, George. Good defence from the Australian.
Clever little adjustments there from Kelly. As George tried to step in, he looked for the right hand. Kelly just a tiny little step back, a couple of inches if that, but it just takes you out of the range, and it also makes Chris George want to, you know, start again.
But it's a buzzing stable Adam Booth has, kicking off the rounds here and boxing well.
I think that was a little bit unfair on Chris George, Adam. I think Chris George feels that, you know, he's trying to find holes in Kelly's game, but he's simply just not good enough. He can't match him and stand toe-to-toe with Kelly. He knows he's going to get out-punched and hurt. So he's trying to find the spot where Kelly gives him a free shot, and he has found that a couple of times. So I think it was a little bit of unfair assessment of Chris George. He's just losing to a better guy.
Remember, Michael is a stablemate of Josh Kelly, but I guess he's saying that the spectacle maybe You know, we've seen Ritson blow away Highland, and you know, it's a different atmosphere now in here. But as you said, you're admiring someone as opposed to getting excited or thrilled.
Exactly. Ritson gets in, he delivers knockouts. You know what you're getting with Ritson. Like, we come here and we admire Josh Kelly, and that's the difference. You know, the pretty boy is delivering, but it's on his terms.
The body shot from George. Exchange punches there.
Stop boxing, step away,
Kelly
Josh.
just
step
shoving
out.
George back. He is throwing, isn't he?
He is, Adam. The good body shots from Chris George, they really are. And you know, is his game plan to try and step on this after about 8 rounds, because he's digging the body as if that's the way forward. You know, he's not aiming much for the head. He's digging down the stairs, and in all honesty, that would be, you know, you can have that kind of game plan going in with a fighter like Kelly, who uses movement and angles to pressure. You know, he's digging the body again there, so he's obviously got some thought to what he's doing, Adam.
Well, he's had those decent wins in Australia. He's travelled to New Zealand before too. First time over here. Oh, but a good shot from Kelly. That was better.
It was a heavy up jab, Adam. It just lifted Chris George's head in the air, made him look worse than it actually was. You know, his wits are still fully there. He's got it all about him. So,
but it was clean.
Oh yes, it was a lovely shot. It's a perfect punch. Ricky Hatton used to throw it immensely. The up jab just lifts the head in the air. See, the only thing he missed out on was coming over with a right hand. Then Nassim Hamed used to do it back in the day.
A spot of blood from the nose of George, and now maybe Kelly will go hunting. Another one gets through, and George just looking wide open here for some of these big shots from Kelly. His hands beginning to fall.
He's putting his foot on the gas a bit now, Adam. He's digging the body also. Chris George looking to hold for the first time in the fight there.
Yep, just minor distress signals here from George at the back end of the 6th round.
It's the first time Kelly has actually walked George down now. Good left hook down for him, but he's taken an awful lot of sticks upstairs and now down the stairs himself.
Second half, Commonwealth title fight in the 10 stone 7 division. The champion, Chris George, must be a long, long way behind on the official cards. That's Tony's unofficial rating, and it's not going to differ, is it?
No, everything to Kelly so far. He's dictating the pace, he's dictating the range. That's a good shot from Chris George, but there's just not enough of it, Adam.
Very left-handed from George. Keep your eye on the right hand. Is there a problem with it? He's just poking out the left a lot.
The winning gloves are usually supposed to be a more padded glove and to protect the hand, so, you know, has he chose to wear them for that reason going into the fight? You know, you don't know.
Uppercut again. That's an elbow. Marcus McDonald ticks him off, but Adam Booth was...
I don't think he meant that.
Yeah, he was shaking his head there in the corner.
The difference in gloves is quite apparent. The fly glove is a bit of a puncher's glove. You know, we're seeing them more and more now. They're coming onto the market, so the winning glove is a tried and tested glove. So it'll be interesting now to see Chris George's game plan, how he's going to put it into effect, because he's tried digging the body and it's had no effect whatsoever on Josh Kelly.
I think he's got a real problem here because he's just trying to fend Kelly off with the left hand. The right's ineffective, and you don't need that when you've got someone of Josh Kelly's talent in front of you.
He's turning southpaw, throwing left uppercuts. You know, that's a big sign that he's got no right hand left.
Yep, he's not even throwing it properly. And Kelly will want to hunt him down now.
Kelly knows, Adam. He knows this. The extremely durable boy is Chris George. He really is, but, you know, it's hard enough for him in there with 2 hands, Adam, never mind one.
Starting to get chewed up a bit as well, George. And the uppercut. And a left hand, because the right is virtually useless. And how is he going to continue really here, George?
He's talking to him in there now, Adam.
Some blood from the nose of Kelly, but he's landing these shots at will now.
He's getting bullied and walked down. You know, he's got to make a stand, dig down, bite on the gum shift, throw the left hook, swing it with everything you've got.
What happens when a hand goes?
It's happened to me on a number of occasions from personal experience, Adam. When it completely goes, it takes about 4 to 5 rounds to go numb. But the pain is immense when it first goes, and you know, if it's going to, like I said, it's going to take 4 to 5 rounds till it starts to numb. But then 4 to 5 rounds where you're waiting for it to go numb is very, very hard.
I think the nose is bad of George now. Blood flowing. He's becoming a mess.
His corner are going to know, Adam. You know, they're going to know the man when he's had enough. So he can't keep up with Kelly.
Yeah, he's looking tired. It's all over. Chris George has been retired, and Josh Kelly was too classy, and he is the Commonwealth welterweight champion. He won the rounds. He boxed really well at times. He did get caught on occasions, and he wore Chris George down, who was hampered, we believe, by a right-hand injury, but he was never, ever going to win it.
No, Adam, the tone was set from the very first bell. You know, Josh Kelly was in complete control. He chose what he wanted to do, when he wanted to do it. And, you know, let's be totally honest here, Chris George was just completely out of his league. You know, we know now that Josh Kelly is way above. We knew from the day he